Welcome again, everybody. So, I think as we all know, and most of you guys who are joining us today, I understand that some of you guys here are business owners. And really, this topic is very, very relevant because I feel that the economy is is bad, lah, right? Because of the whole pandemic. So what does that really mean, right? What does that really mean? Does it really mean that we just have to wait and just tahan or wait until to see whether or not what is going to happen? But how long can we actually wait? So I've been in business for more than 20 over years. So actually in 26 years in 26 to 27 years. And I've seen so many different crises happening in the last 26 years. So this is not the first crisis that has been happening. But one thing that I'm very sure of is that we all, as we progress on, we need to adapt to different changes. We need to adapt to this new change, right? And one of the changes that I feel that we all need to look at, I'm still managing a couple of different businesses today. So talking to you guys from a lens of as an entrepreneur, I feel that we really need to look at what is new, what needs to change. And the one thing that I know of, and if you look at this slide here, right, is that the world needs to move to some form of a digital era. Everything that we used to know in the past, we used to be able to go to a, a customer's office. We used to be able to have coffee with a customer. We cannot do that anymore. Can you imagine that? We can't go and meet people in many countries, right? Everybody is still in a lockdown. And that has to change. That has to move towards something which is a little bit more efficient. We have to embrace this because this is the new norm of business, right? And that is really what we wanted to talk to you guys about here today, right? Now, today is going to be just a conversation and a dialogue, right? And please feel free to ask me or ask my guests here today any questions during the next 1 hour. Type it in the chat window if you have any questions. Okay, we want to make sure that your questions are answered. Today's topic is really about how do we embrace this new norm? How do we move towards a new form of sales, or even adapt to looking at the whole environment of managing our teams using digital solutions, using cloud solutions. Okay, so my good friend that I wanted to bring on today, right, is none other than Charmain Tan. Right, Charmain is the founder and CEO of quickdesk, based in Singapore, but really moving towards the solutions to the world. Charmain is really an amazing friend. Met her a couple of years ago. At the age of 21 years old is when she founded her first company. And that company was basically in the business of winter touchscreen gloves, right? And guess what? She's never been a graduate of the tech industry. And every business that she conceptualizes is really about this notion of solving a problem. Right now, she's in her next venture, which is quickdesk. It's a sales solution platform to really help companies, help SME owners to embrace the world of digital sales. And she's also come up with training programs. She's part of this professional conversion program, teaching people on how do you embrace and how do you move towards being this new digital sales executive. So without further ado, I want to bring on board my good friend, Charmain Tan. Charmain, where are you?
Hi. Thanks for such a great introduction of me. It's really a privilege to be here speaking together with you. Thanks for this opportunity. Yeah, something that is very close to my heart, right?
Mm.
Moving to cloud, talking about the different digital tools that are here to make our lives better and easier.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks so
Yeah,
much, Charmain, for coming on board. We've known each other for what, a couple of years now?
2 years. We first met at a poker ship event,
Okay.
and you were like, "Get." A lot of entrepreneurs here, right? Isn't it all about having fun while working? And and
Yeah,
and isn't that the whole idea why we are so much into digital solutions? So the system work for us and then we work less?
exactly. Yeah. So today is going to be a conversation. It's going to be pretty casual. As you can see, it is so great that even in this digital world, me and Charmaine can be doing this live from the same office, uh, to you guys, right? So, don't worry, we have already done our social distancing, right? She's on my left, or I'm on her left, or she's on my right. Okay, whatever lah. Okay. All right. So, Charmaine, maybe let's get started lah. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and you can ask me any questions as well as we take this with the audience. So I think everybody is pretty much affected by this pandemic, right? I don't know whether everybody is facing this issue with sales going down, right? Maybe let's do a poll, right? Let's start with a poll, everybody, right? I want you guys to answer this question in the poll for us. And this question is really asking you guys, how many of you have seen, what is your sales today? Has your sales increased or your sales decreased, right? Let's start a poll now, okay? So I'm going to launch this poll now. So you should see this poll on your screen, right? Let me know if you see it on your screen. And if you don't see it on your screen, you can type in the chat window, right? So do answer this poll for us. How has your sales increased or dropped during this whole pandemic or this new norm? Right? I can see, some of you guys are saying, oh, this is like a stock market, Charmaine.
It's quite cool.
Right? It's
I,
going up
I,
and down.
I wanted to like predict an answer, right? But I realized that I couldn't.
Cannot, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cannot. It's very hard.
Yeah.
But they don't know the answer lah, so let's not give it to them.
Okay. And it's amazing that there are answers all across, right? So, we're asking you guys whether some of you have increased, some of you have decreased, some of you have no change, and there are answers across the board. Everybody will give you guys another 5 seconds to answer this voting, this polling. Do answer this question so that we can look at what you're facing, and then we can answer and then take you guys through this session. Okay, we'll give you guys another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let us stop the polling. And this is your results. Shall we share the results, Charmaine, or shall we just keep the results to ourselves?
Yeah, I'll prefer to keep it. But we had a promise today that we need to make the next 45 minutes of greatest value to them.
Okay.
So I guess
All
share
right.
lah.
Okay, let's share the results. So this is the results of all the audience in the room. Charmaine, so majority of people says it is decreased by more than 50%. Some say decreased by 25%. But it's interesting that some say that it's increased by more than 50%. Right? And obviously some has no change. What do you think about this?
I mean, I think there are many possibilities. I know there's a lot of people here from the tech space. Are they using some digital tools? I'm not sure. Maybe we'll find out from them later, right? Of course, besides that, I guess definitely majority had their sales decrease, and the pandemic definitely has affected a lot of businesses. Many businesses are transforming. Digital transformation is no longer a futuristic word, it's a word of now. So, and I guess data speaks, right?
Yeah, I do agree lah. I think if I look at my business as well, right? There's some, so I run a couple of different businesses and I see it across the board. And what I see is that certain types of businesses are increasing, certain types of business who had earlier embraced some form of digital, certain retail business that had gone online much earlier. My education business is kind of, I wouldn't say it's increased by 50%, but it's increased a little bit because I think during this pandemic, people are more embracing education. I don't know whether you see that as well with your education side of your business.
Yes, for sure. Like we've been doing education for like 2 years now. This is our second year. And digital sales, when we spoke this whole topic about digital sales productivity, everybody's like, it's okay lah, it's never a now need, right? It's never a need, it was a want, good to have. But this year it just spiked all the way up.
Yeah.
So I guess it's speaking on certain interests and demands and shifts in market.
Yeah. And I think that's very relevant. But okay, so I guess the next question that I had was that, remind everybody here that if there's anybody that has any questions that they want to ask us on cloud, how do you embrace digital sales? And this whole topic about increasing sales productivity by 50% through cloud solutions, do just type it in the chat window I know you guys are muted and you guys may not be able to speak to us directly, but speak to us through the chat window, and we will basically look at the chat window as well so we can answer your questions. Yeah. Okay, so the thing that so this topic, okay, so the topic today is about increasing sales by 50%, right? It's a pretty bold statement, right? It's a pretty bold statement to say increase by 50%. Is that possible? Do you think it's really possible?
Okay. But just now you remember the stats and the numbers? Some people had. So is it possible? I for sure think that it is possible. I think there's many important elements that need to be taught in place, right? First thing is, so I'll share with some of my case studies, because most of our clients always come to us if they say, hey, you know, I would like to drive, I like to use technology to drive my sales. How can you help? And I always ask them, so how's business, right? That's always the very typical first question. I mean, a lot of business owners, this is the first question. Hey, how's things? How's business? And some interesting facts I've gathered is this. A lot of my friends in who are sales professionals themselves have been telling me they've been a lot more productive these days. I said, what do you mean? You can't now meet your friends and your clients like face to face out there in a cafe? Yeah, because in the past I can maybe only do like 5 meetings, but now I could do 8 meetings. We call it the zooming in, zooming out, right?
Zombie. We're all zombies now.
Yeah, zombies. But it's interesting. You think about productivity. Productivity is all about getting more done in the same amount of time. And so because they are able to do more meetings, they increase their probability of closing more. Now, it's really all about having more activities. So that is for the sales professionals. And not only that, they told me one thing. They said, you know, their efforts they use for in the past, they had to fight with people who might be out there picking the first call first, faster, or even having like better referrals. All their past efforts in content, driving more content marketing and educational content to drive them leads are now working. Because what happens? I believe a lot of people is in this room before they came to our webinar, they searched about us before. Right? So now anybody that is online and present digitally, they have a better chance of closing more sales. And not only that, for those in the retail. So I have a very close friend of mine. He runs a few female shoes chain. So when pandemic hit, she was like, oh shucks, all my retails are closed. What could I do next? But just last year, she started e-commerce, but she never really put much effort on it because business was as usual. And pandemic hit. Right away, it was straight into e-commerce. Resources all had to move to e-commerce. Of course, thankfully, she have learned some trades on digital marketing and e-com. She told us in our reports, not only has her sales in her e-com business 50%, they actually rose 2x.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I guess if you ask me if it's possible with technology, nothing's impossible.
Yeah, you know, I tend to agree. And the funny thing, right, is that so I've been in this business, the technology business, for 18 years now. And in the last 17 years, we've been trying so hard to get people to embrace digital. It took one pandemic, right, to really just ramp up the graph, and everybody's now says, okay, we got to go digital. And I think the lesson that I took back from that is this, right? Sometimes, you know, we're all entrepreneurs and we're all business owners in the room here, and change is not something which is very new to us, right? We all go through change a lot. But I think this pandemic has taught us one very big lesson. And the big lesson is that, you know, we need to always be ready for change. A lot of us were not ready for this change. Although, like, for example, your friend, right? She knew that she needed to go online, right? She knew that and she knew that she needed to go online, but there was no push. And this was the push that thankfully she did, and she increased it. Unfortunately, I still see many people out there who still feels that they can ride this pandemic out and wait for it to end and then go back to normal. And I'm going to say a very controversial statement here, right? And the controversial statement here is that nothing will go back to normal. This normal is not going to happen. Whatever we used to know earlier is not going to happen already. So it's either we embrace this new normal, go digital somehow, or we really have to I don't know. I don't want to mention the word D lah, right? But it's really going towards death, lah, right? And that's where we're heading to, lah, right? So you talk a lot, and just a little bit about your story, yeah, Charmain. For some people that don't know you, I know many people so may not know me, right? I'm always very inspired by you. Because starting at the age, first business at the age of 21, and then now moving to quickdesk, which you are really championing this movement of digital sales. So for the people in the room here, why digital sales? And I will lead on to I want to know a bit more about you in terms of what is digital sales. But first, why go from gloves to digital sales?
It's very interesting that you asked that question, right? I mean, it was very interesting because I started business at 21. So at the age, most of you will know I'm in school. I was studying in uni. So my winter gloves for touchscreen devices, we manufacture in China, and of course, Singapore, we had some market, but it's only those that are traveling. So most of our clients are overseas. We were forced in a situation to be a born global product. And so what I did then, without any, no one in school taught me sales. All I knew is when I was young, people knock my doors, right? Hey, hello, you want to buy insurance? Hey, hello, you want to do this? And I'm like, okay lah, sales must be that way, right?
Door to door
So what?
salesman.
Yeah, literally. I'm not even kidding, right? So because we had some round of seed investment from the government. We said, okay, let's go knock doors.
Mm.
So what I did was, right after my month's exam ended, the very night I took a flight out to the US. Right? And what I did was this. I searched the directory on all the retail outlets that could be buying my gloves, and I started knocking doors. And I just took my prototype and I said, hey guys, this is my gloves. It helps you to use your iPhone and your iPad out in the cold. I think it'd be a great compliment to your products here. Would you be okay to take it? Sorry, Charmain. Yeah, it looks really interesting, but can you call the HQ, please? So there were a lot of these situations whereby we were doing very traditional, or maybe our higher telemarketer. Hey, there's this list. I can call through the list and book some appointments for me. But yeah, the challenge I faced at the point in time was that it's just such a long sales cycle, and I had no clue if that was right, that was wrong. Who can I ask? I went back to school, but there's no module teaching sales. So I come from a tech environment at that point in time, and the question we always had in our mind is, how can we use technology to drive sales? So digital comes from the word technology, right? So how can you use technology to drive sales? So that was how it all started. How to use technology to drive sales, and that was how we end up building quickdesk.
Wow.
Because we really wanted to help other businesses to be not like us, because in our first company, when the next season, when we started learning a bit more about sales, we were too late in the market. The giants have already came, right? The brand that we built was not fast enough. So I said, okay, now in this company, I need to build a solution that can help every other entrepreneurs and businesses to drive sales with technology. So that's how quickdesk started. Interesting that you ask.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand, because we're talking about this whole topic of sales, right? And there's always a story behind a story, I always feel. So as we're talking about sales, I think it was good for the audience to really understand why are we so passionate about this topic of sales. So I guess then it goes back down to my next question now. Based on your experience that you just mentioned to us, what really is digital sales? So you kind of talked about just now, knocking on doors, going door to door. Hey, you want to buy or not? Hey, you want to buy or not? Want to buy or not? Don't want to buy? Okay, buy. Go into that, right? So that for me is more traditional sales. Another form of sales is probably, we all know it as relationship building, right? Okay, we all have a budget to spend on taking entertainment, taking our clients out for lunch, taking our clients out for dinner and things like that, right? So what is digital sales? Is it like, digital sales is building an e-commerce site? Oh, is it a selling over Zoom, right? What is it really?
Actually, I would like to hear from the audience what they think digital sales is.
So what do you guys think?
Okay, so could you help to type in the chat? What do you think digital sales is?
Type it in the chat window, everybody. What do you think digital sales mean? Come on, we need some participation here, because or else we will just be talking to ourselves, right? Come on, guys. Can you please type in the chat window now? What do you think is digital sales? Help us with this. Help us with this question. What do you think digital sales is? Is anyone still there? Everyone's so shy. Oh my God. Type it in the chat window, guys. What is digital sales? Come on. Help us. Anyone? Okay. Right. So thank you, Key. Key says sales via e-commerce. Desmond says using digital platforms to market to buyers, channel inquiries to the seller. What do you think, Charmain? Matt says use virtual channels to reach out to prospects.
We're not getting enough responses from the crowd.
Charmain is not happy, guys. Type more. Come on. More answers in the chat window. What is digital sales to you guys? Okay, looks like everyone is quite shy today. I think maybe too early People still just woke up. Cannot be, it's 11:30. Come on, guys.
Okay lah. Maybe we leave the more exciting question for them later.
All right.
Reserving their energy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess it's very interesting how Keith mentioned about sales via e-commerce. Desmond talked about using digital platforms to market to buyers and channel inquiries to the seller. If you realize one thing, it's that all of them talk about a digital platform, right, or virtual channel. So yes, actually digital sales is something really simple. Using digital tools, which is I guess in Robert's mind it's gadgets, using digital tools, as well as using digital platforms to market and promote your solution. Now, so in one interesting thing, let me just deep dive a bit, right? In a very traditional sales, transactional salesperson, somebody who commonly meets some other salespeople face to face, which we spoke about. It's really about leveraging technology, which is to generate leads themselves. Example, right? LinkedIn, one of the most common channels for people to generate leads now. To generate leads, to promote about the solutions you are having, to promote about your success story. And then we speak here about in Zoom, most people are doing sales through Zoom, virtual selling. And following up. How do you follow up? Just like many of you guys here, reach out, you came to us, we spent $0 on ads, right? You guys are all in this room because of one thing. You probably receive our email. We only use one channel, email. And these are all the follow-through processes we use with technology to drive sales. And not only that, I guess in a retail space, people are starting to use like what Keith say, e-commerce, or even like what Desmond say, marketplace. And something very interesting that I've noticed is, but these platforms have evolved too, right? In the past, we just talked about CRM. Now businesses are looking for automation. In the past, people are talking about just purely using LinkedIn. Now people are talking about LinkedIn robots.
Yeah.
Right. And even in e-commerce, one thing I heard recently, you're starting to do live auctions, huh?
Yeah.
You're selling some dim sum through live auctions to help your friends' e-commerce business.
Yeah, that was super interesting, I'm telling you. So in this whole idea of sales and digital sales, what Charmain talked about, I was on this quest to explore what are the different channels that we can do sales if we cannot meet each other, right? So I don't know whether anyone here has tuned in, or I don't know whether Charmain you have watched. Very famous. China and Taiwan started this whole Facebook Live selling motion many years ago, right? And they came online and they started selling products and all that. And actually, people buy, right? So when the pandemic happened, a couple of people here in this region, in Singapore, in Malaysia, and Indonesia, and Thailand, they started this Facebook Live thing. So I wanted to test whether or not this really works. So I went online, right? So I knew a friend who was doing this Facebook channel. He was selling cooking. He was selling easy cooking. So he showed called easy cooking. So I told my friend, I says, hey, I want to do an experiment. Come, let me go online to sell for you. And in 1 hour, right, I sold 5,000 ringgit worth of dim sum. right? Dim sum, right, is 5,000 ringgit worth. So if you ask me whether does Facebook Live selling work, well, I guess it does, because that was my first time doing a Facebook Live online, and it was selling frozen dim sum which people needed to eat at home, and I felt that because there was a need. There was a need because people would want to eat dim sum, but they couldn't really go out. They could, but they were a bit fearful. So then they says, okay, let me just buy at home to eat. All right. So the fundamentals of sales, I believe, is still there. Right. The fundamental for sales is you need to serve a need. It's all about demand and supply. All right. But once you're able to meet that demand and supply, people are willing to buy from any channel. One dim sum, one box of six dumplings, right? It's like, it costs like 10 ringgit. Can you imagine 5,000 ringgit worth of dim sum? How many did I sell? So digital sales, I agree with you. And recently also, like I'm embarking on this thing where B2B, right? A lot of us traditionally we always think, right, B2B sales cannot use Facebook, cannot use all this one, right? We cannot use all this. Only for consumer product. So I start to explore about LinkedIn, right? And I'm introduced, like what you said earlier, right? I mean, LinkedIn robots. So a robot that helps me go to the internet and go and crawl and go and get leads of people, right? Because as businesses, we need leads, right? We need leads all the time, right? We need leads all the time. Yeah. So that I completely resonate with you, Charmain. Completely resonate. So looking at this now, right? Understanding that we used to go from traditional sales, door knocking and things like that, and now with so many different channels of getting leads, I personally feel that before actually doing the sale, we need to do the leads first. We need to get leads first. We can no longer even do door to door. We can no longer even go and knock on people's doors anymore. So how do we get leads, right? So I guess the question here I wanted to talk to you about, and this point is, how do we transform? How do we move from traditional sales to digital sales?
How do we move from traditional sales to digital sales?
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, it's very interesting that we spoke about that, right? But is it okay if we ask I know the audience is a bit shy lah.
Yeah.
But I think one of the thing I've learned in entrepreneurship is we learn best from knowing how to deal with challenges.
Okay.
I know a lot of people actually spoke about they all have ideals. All our clients, they came to us, hey, I think we need CRM. My friend told me CRM is very important in driving sales. Okay, that's the first statement, right? But does it mean I need to change from my Excel spreadsheet to another system? But I still prefer my paper and pen, right? So I would like to hear about some of the challenges first before we speak about how we can actually transform from traditional sales to digital. So everybody, could you just do us a little favor? I know you're a bit shy, but we only have next 20 minutes left. And me and Raymond said, okay, we are going to come here and speak. We want to give you guys the best of value and the most of impact. So if we can hear your challenges, and we can even use this crowd as a way to collectively collect solutions for you, could you just type some of the challenges you face? And maybe we could also even share our experiences, how we help our clients or even ourselves. So can we have some sharing? What challenges do you guys face from moving from traditional sales to digital sales?
Definitely agree. So everybody, please help us. What are the challenges that you guys face today with regards to moving, with regards to sales today? It could be even like, I don't know where to get leads. I don't know. Let us know what are your challenges today that you face with regards to sales, or even adopting this new wave of digital sales. Right? What challenges that you guys face? Type it in the chat window now. Type it in the chat window. Let us know, please, so that we can see what kind of value that we can share with you guys. Now, the great thing about doing Zoom is also that we are all on our laptops. So while I'm talking, Charmain is going to go and do some research. While she's talking, I'm going to do some research. So we're doing things on the fly to make sure that you spend a good 1 hour with us. Okay, so do type more. More. I would like to see more participation in the chat window. All right. So we have someone, James here is saying one of his challenges is systemizing lead generation. Right? How do you create a system, or rather a process or a structure? Right? Diana here is saying that the impression is that digital sales can be very costly. Right? So it is, I guess, one of the challenges is from an expense standpoint. Right? Neo is saying it's from a B2B perspective. Right? How do you do sales from a B2B perspective? Because typically we see, like I said earlier, right? Facebook, it's very consumer based. Somebody selling a pen, or somebody selling I don't know, right? Yeah. So like I know we shop a lot. I know you shop a lot, Charmaine, to buy sports clothes, right? Yeah. So Aiden says resources is a challenge, manpower, right? And of course the dreaded word, right? Investment and money. So those are some of the challenges that they mentioned.
Okay. So Raymond, is it okay we spend the next 10 minutes sharing a bit about and discuss a bit about the solutions that we can use
Of course,
through this
that's why everybody's here. So Kimin says process flow is a challenge.
process flow? Okay. So we will let's deal with each of them. I mean, okay, so remember, I think today we'll be flexible. Is it okay if I share my screen and share with them some digital tools that are out there that they could actually use?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so I will answer James' question first. Okay, this is a very brief note which I want to deep dive, and then maybe you can give me the share screen access, so I can explain to them a bit more. Okay, so top of the funnel, systemizing lead gen. Just now somebody asked about can introduce. I think that was Jian Chong, right? Okay, so this is what we have gathered for you guys. Okay, I just pulled this out from my encyclopedia of notes that we have prepared for our students, but I thought it was very valuable. Okay, now a lot of people has heard about take note, none of the products are mine. They are really what we personally have used and we felt benefit from. You can take a screenshot if you want. Now a lot of times we actually say, okay lah, you can tell us to do like email marketing, but the question is, where's the leads from? I just started my business. So there's this theory called list building, whereby you can actually crawl the internet for data about a particular person. So some of the tools that you can look out for is like the ones I put in blue are the ones we have used that has been very beneficial. So I will deep dive in rocketreach.co. Okay, RocketReach is a platform that you can use to find emails and contact person from company domain. Because I don't have much time to like deep dive into the tool, what you could do is you can just do a quick search on the domain RocketReach and try yourself. I believe they have a free trial for you. The next one that somebody spoke about is leads enrichment. So those who are in B2B would know, at the end of the day, it's not just about reaching the company. If I reach out to Infront Consulting, the main line, would I be able to navigate a purchase behavior? It's going to be hard, because who's the decision maker? The boss over here. So the question here is this: how can we find out more information about this particular person in their destination? So next, social media
What was
outreach.
that tool?
There's a few here: Full Contact, Clearbit, Datanix. The ones that I think has worked really well for us are like we personally have experienced before is Full Contact, but it's a bit pricey. But you can explore. We call it leads enrichment. Yeah. And the next one that we had is social media outreach. So in fact, those who have been in business for very long, who have built a great profile for yourself. Personally, for myself, I get about 10% conversion from my LinkedIn Sales Navigator outreach. But one thing I've been very consistent on, keeping my LinkedIn engaged and active, so that people come to me, they know that I'm not just here to sell, I'm here to share, right? So you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, target the right buyers, and personalize an outreach to them. And of course, something else, if you all want to crawl from LinkedIn, the new tool that we've been using for the past 2 months. It's called LinkedIn Helper. I've not typed it here, but you guys can go and Google LinkedIn Helper. This is a very effective tool for you to crawl the different leads from LinkedIn. And in fact, we call it the LinkedIn robot because it messages people for you. So that is something that it's very, I think, in terms of lead gen. So then the question that James asked was this: how do you then systemize it? Now, when we want to systemize lead gen, you need to think from a process perspective, right? So I'll share with some workflows, but of course there is many different others that you can think about. Okay, so this is an example, right? I said, okay, now if I were to generate leads by being out there, so list building, I can then do an email sequence with a follow-up call and LinkedIn outreach, two-pronged approach. And the reason why we built processes like that was because of the first principle. For anybody to buy something, they need about close to 7 touch points, right? So these are some examples of what you can use to follow through from lead gen all the way to maybe they say, okay, I think it's time I explore your solution. So these are some tools, and maybe one more just to share is for LinkedIn. Yeah, let me just do a present so it's larger. I hope all you guys can see. Now, over here, this is our own LinkedIn workflow that has worked for us, right? I'm not LinkedIn salesperson, but I promise Raymond to be of greatest share to you guys. So a LinkedIn database, you can search based on geography, job function, industry, job title, bring down, and then you get the leads out. Based on shared experiences and account activity, you'll be able to filter them to know, are they a real lead on LinkedIn? Are they qualified? Are they really the person you want to reach out to? If they are, drop in a connection request. Be a friend first, connect with them. One of the key things that we need to identify in digital sales is, yes, you're using technology, but the art of selling should not change. Build a relationship first. People buy from you because they first trust you. So these are some of the snippets about outbound lead gen. I think I've pretty much answered some of the key questions from James and Jian Cong, right? Okay, so do keep your questions coming. We have another 15 minutes. We'll be more than happy to share more along the way. So after lead gen, I think the next question they said is that process flow. The question here is this: how do you then automate your follow-up processes with your leads? I would love to hear from the audience. How do they normally follow up with their clients after they get the leads? Anybody happy to share?
Yep. So type in the chat window, right? How do you follow up your sales? Follow up after you get the leads, right? So looking at what Charmain just shared, you can use a lot of tools out there today from a digital perspective. So the world of flipping through yellow pages have evolved. There's no such thing as a yellow pages book anymore. And you know the yellow pages book is so thick, there's no way you're going to find anybody there, right? And the font is so small. But the world of digital sales, like what Charmain have just shared, going through the motion of going into a specific segment, going into understanding your own target market, and using that target market to now go and find and crawl through the different tools, like what Charmain shared, Rocket Reach, going into LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And these are all the new ways to go and knock doors, right? This is the new door knocking way. So type it in the chat window now, like what Charmain has asked to share. If you have gotten these leads now, so imagine you've gone out to get the leads or somebody refer you. How do you follow up on those leads? How do you follow up on those leads? Type it in the chat window now. If you what do you guys do? Do you guys call them immediately? Right? Do you guys send them a WhatsApp message? Do you guys send them an email? Right? Do you guys appear at their house suddenly? Right? What is it? Anyone care to share in chat window? Wow, tough crowd today, Charmain.
Everyone very shy. They just want to hear from us.
They just want to listen. Okay.
Yeah.
Call, yes. Okay. So JC says call. Anyone else? What do you normally do after you get a lead? I guess most people would call, right?
Yeah. But the question is, after a call, will somebody respond?
Mm.
Right? How would they respond? Yeah. So if it's okay, let me share in how I see systemizing lead gen to be like. Okay.
Yeah, so some says check out their website, check out their LinkedIn first. So Diana
Interesting.
is really good, right? She does a bit of research before she actually
Mm-hmm.
calls the customer.
That's good. Now, one thing that I've always been very cautious about is that we need to think from a sales funnel perspective and to think through in your whole sales process. How can you follow up through, right? Whereby they get to know you. That's the website. I think that was just what one of who was the one who mentioned that? Uh, Diana, right? Say check out their website, LinkedIn, awareness, interest, and you want to move them down to consideration, intent, and evaluation. So I would just share from experience what we do ourselves and what has worked for us, and then I guess we'll leave it to the crowd. So this is something that we have built, right? We said, okay, now this is the whole sales funnel.
Sorry, Charmaine, could you
Um,
just present
make
that
it
so it's
larger.
bigger? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. This is what we have personally done, which is we said, okay, we use a different way to list build. We also built our own inbound funnel. So I'll share some experiences. We built a different product page for every product. So if you go into our website and you click on like the different tools like training and all, we have different landing page for that, right? Purpose of it is very objective, one objective based website to attract leads, to educate the customer and attract leads. And then depending on the target market. So if we are targeting directly, in the past when we do a lot of training sales, we do Facebook ads because we are targeting professionals. Of course, in the B2B aspect, now we spend a lot more on, say, Google Ads or even LinkedIn page. And something that we will never forget is to keep building our brand on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, because people are going to search about us. They may not generate us the immediate revenue, but it's very important to keep us in their top of mind.
Mm.
Now, the next thing, of course, we eat our own dog food, right? We use our own product to do a follow-up call. And something that we have done recently, just to share, it's marketing automation. We call it leads nurturing. So this is something that you could do these days. In the past, like I think somebody mentioned about dropping an email, you could actually automate personalization of email. To be honest, I mean, I'm very honest here because we said we are obligated to share. Everyone in this room receives an automated email from us.
Yeah.
So all we did was one-time setup, and we automated follow-up based on the responses. Automated emails all the way to somebody say interested to have a purchase. And of course, in moving from just now we talked about the old way to the new way, we have also started doing SMS SMS follow-up. So some of you may have received our SMS. We actually automated it also at the start, and even omni-channel. Many people are saying that, hey, I do a lot of my sales on WhatsApp. I do a lot of my sales on Messenger.
Mm.
So there are platforms out there which is help you to consolidate all the different communication channel into one for you to do your follow-up. And everything could be easily integrated through a system like Zapier. It's called a very simple, like if this then that integration platform. So this is pretty much a bit of the sharing of what we personally do. And more importantly, when we end off to close off the plan for the quarter, we actually also build our own pipeline dashboard, because they say numbers speak louder than words.
Yep.
Right? We say, okay, these are the numbers we need. These are numbers we need to track to know what's for next month, next year, and we build our own dashboard.
Mm.
So I guess that's to answer some of the challenges they face.
Awesome.
But Raymond,
Yeah.
thanks for letting me share.
Yeah,
What
no
about
problem.
you?
So what about, so I think looking at the time, so you shared pretty much quite a comprehensive list of different tools, even to look at the tools that you provide from a quick desk perspective. And I think the take home that I have from your sharing is that sales is different. I think everybody here has to embrace that sales is different nowadays. It is no longer as easy, especially when people are now in the era of speed. Everybody wants things to be fast, right? in the past, we used to send a message or an email, and then we are okay if people take a couple of days to reply. Now we send somebody a WhatsApp message, and then we check the WhatsApp message to see whether he read, and then we see 2 blue ticks, and then we don't get a response and we get frustrated. I'm like, what the, right? Did you just blue tick me? You read my message and you didn't reply? So I guess that translates back to sales now. The unfortunate thing is that people are becoming more and more impatient, and that is the reality of even, and this pandemic has actually increased that, right? Increased that. So I think what you're trying to say is that not only do we have to embrace digital sales, we have to embrace also the automation of digital sales. Personalized emails, getting a robot to do the work for us. We are basically there as humans to do the final mile, like what we are sharing with you guys today here. Every part of this whole webinar that we're doing for you, until now, the last part is that just 2 humans are here. But everything before this, from getting the leads to talk to you guys, from sending out the emails, to sending out the reminders, to sending out another reminder, to actually send you guys the link, getting on the call, everything was done automatically, and there was an automation, and we get a report before we actually come on to know how many people is coming, and then we know what to do when we actually go and talk, right? Did I sum that up?
You sum it up really well. I guess maybe that's because you come from the cloud space.
Yeah.
How has cloud helped you guys?
Well, for us that basically embracing digital, embracing cloud, or embracing digital sales is not just about the sales. There is many other things that we all have to embrace as well, right? Even from a work from home perspective, right? A lot of us now, our teams are all at home. And I know one of the biggest worries that a lot of business owners have, is that how do I ensure that everybody is actually working when they're at home, right? I can give them a digital tool. I can give them a rocket reach. I can give them all these lead generation things, right? But are they really using it or not? Or are they just basically lying on the bed the whole entire day, and then in the morning just come out and says, okay, yeah, I did my work. So I think embracing this new norm of work from home is also very, very different. It's very weird. So if the times are weird, we need to also be embracing different tools to help with that, right? Now there's 1,001 tools out there, and we have came up with a slew of different tools to help people to work from home. Now, looking at the time, unfortunately, I don't have time to talk to you guys about it. But what you guys can do, and this is what I would do for you guys, is this. At the end of this session, I will give you guys a QR code, and I'll give you guys a link. If any one of you guys are interested, right, I have written an ebook of all the different digital solutions and digital tools that you can look to adopt in your company to make your teams a lot more efficient, right? And also looking at the tools that Charmain actually shared today, Rocket Reach, and many other tools out there. So do sign up for that, and then we will give you the ebook for free, no charges, don't worry, right? That is for you for free to make sure that you guys get value out of this session. For us here at Infront, we basically are specializing in work from home solutions. So we have solutions not only to give you productivity on emails, storages, but also all-in-one solutions that has even helping you guys to track your people daily goals, daily tasks, meetings online, leave applications, claim applications, time tracking applications, everything in one solution, and you can use that together with your CRM tools. So I guess looking at the time, Charmain, I wanted to end with one question here, and this is one of the questions that came up earlier, right? It seems like a lot of these tools are quote unquote requires investment costs. How do we justify making this type of investments?
Interesting question about justifying investment. Now, it's gonna sound very biased from me if I'm gonna answer that, right? Because you're in the space of selling digital sales and digital tools. So I know that you've started adopting marketing automation recently for your B2B business, right? How do you justify the investment? What made you say the leap and jump and purchase that?
Yeah, other than you being my friend and I buy from you.
Is
Well,
that how
other
it
than
works?
yeah, relationship, right? Well, I
Aw.
guess I guess other than that, I think okay. So on a serious note, um, for me it really makes sense. We are embracing a new digital norm, and I no longer can have my salespeople physically meet my customers. And not only that, my customers don't want to meet my salespeople, and that is the reality and is the fact. And we are in a situation where we cannot hire more salespeople because we have to go into a mode of cost cutting. So for me, paying $5,000, $6,000 for another salesperson, it is just too much. I have existing salesperson, but they are not fully utilized. So I look at the whole investment cost and I ask myself, instead of spending $5,000 to $6,000 a month on a new salesperson, what can I use the investment for to make my people more utilized? And they're not getting enough leads, right? So I rather use that $5,000 to $6,000 to pump more leads for them so they can transform themselves and do more calling. And that actually makes sense. And guess what? I realized that it doesn't cost $5,000 to $6,000 more, right? It costs a little bit of effort and time to set the systems up, but those are all one-time efforts. So for me, it was very easy to justify, right? Spending about even $1,000 or $2,000 a month. But now I get at least an extra 20 leads, 30 leads per month, right? And that my salespeople can follow up on. And if my conversion rate is a bad 10% out of the 30 leads, right? Or 20 leads, hey, that is at least another 2 to 3 sales a month, right? That is better than, paying an additional salesperson and, like, hoping and praying that he or she will perform, right? And in my industry, it takes roughly about another 5 to 6 months for a salesperson to perform because they have to learn, right? They have to learn the trade, they have to learn how to sell, they have to learn the products and so on. So I guess that's kind of my answer, lah, Charmaine. How do I justify the investment? I really look at the numbers. I'm a numbers guy, but really the numbers make sense. Going on to digital is actually not expensive if you look at the amount of sales that it can potentially bring you.
Nice, thanks. So I guess you have answered. This question was that you have
I forgot,
answered.
yeah. But what about your customers? Have you seen anything else that your customers are saying? Why did they buy some of these digital tools? Because it can actually rack up, right? It can, if one tool it costs like 500, another tool costs another 500, another tool costs another 500. What has your
Yeah.
customer
So
said?
I think at the end of the day, in the past we always have this belief lah. You want to drive more sales, hire more salespeople lor.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I think we all acknowledge as business owners, right? It's not that hard to find a very good salesperson. So we really need technology to supplement that. So that we if everything is processified or systemized,
Hmm.
we are able to in better control, right? It's I mean, sales is not a numbers game. So I guess what really make them justify is them recognizing that at the end of the day, if you want to make $1,000 more, it's like investment. How much money are you going to put in? Now, if you hire a salesperson, how much would that cost? If you hire the digital tool, how much would that cost? Just do a simple math. You know that the digital tool is probably like 10% of what you need to have for a salesperson. So I guess from that perspective, they realize how important it is. It's just like for us, we used to run. My team used to be a lot larger, but when challenges happen in past 2 years, we realized we had to downsize. But in fact, something interesting, we make a lot more profit this year, even though my team is half the size
Awesome.
now. So I guess we really embrace technology ourselves, and we ourselves walk the talk. So in that particular specific, we could actually share, having tools so we do not lose leads anymore. I have visibility on what's going on, and every one of you that comes, some of the names look familiar. You probably know me from way back, and you probably came into this channel because of my email, and they are automated.
Hmm.
So technology is here for you.
Awesome. So at the end of the day, I think it's embracing technology. It is not a scary robot, right? It is not a scary robot that has come back from the past and is going to rule the world. It is something that we can collaborate with to help us as humans become more efficient, right? And that is really what we wanted to share with you guys today. Now, I understand it's 12:05. So the one thing I wanted to share last with you before we wrap up is that if you guys want to know more about the tools that Charmain has shared with you guys and really going into the process and even the cloud solutions that we can share with you guys, this is what I want you guys to do. I'm going to flash out a QR code now. And at the end of the QR code, if you guys sign up, I'm going to share with you this ebook which we've written, and it basically gives you an access or information to all the different digital tools that we have found out there that is available to help you in terms of not only your sales, but to create more efficient business processes and business teams, right? So how do you get that? This is what I want you guys all to do now. Scan this QR code or put that link in your web browser and go to that link bit.ly/ICG and these are sessions that we basically talk to audiences about how are businesses embracing technology to move and grow their business, right? So Charmain, you want to share a little bit about that quote that you chose to put up there?
When digital transformation is done right, it's like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. But when done wrong, all of you have it's a really fast caterpillar. At the end of the day, we all are here looking for transformation and for growth, right? When I started business, like what you say, it's like caterpillar. I was just exploring the new environment. But what really allowed me to fly is digital transformation. So I guess that pretty much sums it up. And I heard about your amazing, you spoke about your ebook that they'll get after they fill in the form, right?
Yep.
I actually have not read it yet, but
Oh my God.
but I heard about how you really use technology and adopt it into within your companies to help you to drive the 11 businesses. So you are a butterfly yourself.
I'm a little butterfly. Okay. All right. So that's it, everybody. I hope you got that quote there. I wanted to just say a very big thank you, Charmain, for joining me today and just having this chat about digital sales and cloud solutions. I hope that everybody got some take homes from there. I definitely did. And really is understanding some of the tools that we have out there. But foundationally, we all have to be a bit more smart with regards to our sales now. And smart in a sense that it doesn't make sense to keep on increasing the size of the team and just hiring more salespeople, right? It's a new, different way of doing sales now, and we have to look at how do we tap onto customers. And it's not just about posting a social media posting, right? It all is a holistic approach. Social media is one part of it. Email is one part of it. LinkedIn is one part of it. Facebook is one part of it. But bringing all this together into some form of automation that we can engage. So one of the biggest word I took home from your sharing today is the word engaged, right? Although we try our best to engage with the audience today with the chat window, we didn't get much response, but we did get some. But ask ourselves this question: how are we in this new digital norm engaging with our customers and engaging with our potential customers, engaging with our prospects? If we are not engaging, the likelihood is if we are not making the sale. Any last things to share, Charmain?
I guess if there's anything that I can share, I would love to speak more to all of you, talk about deep dive into your challenges. Just leave us your contact number in the form. And myself or my colleagues could be more than happy to help you. Of course, you can reach out to me at Charmain@quickdesk.io. So that's my email address. And I'm just glad that we could share little snippets of our own learning experiences with everyone. That's the greatest thing about learning, right? To share.
Absolutely. So thanks again, Charmain. That's it for us today. Thank you for spending your 1 hour with us. I hope you guys had some great take homes. do fill in the form so that we can get in touch with you guys as well, right? And hopefully you can join us for the next Business in Tech session, right? And if there's more sales, we will do another session. Okay. Thank you again, Charmain. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
great rest of the day.
everyone.
Bye-bye.